Hello everybody, welcome to my channel once again, Life Beyond Vision. My name is Diego, and in this video I'm going to share with you guys the reasons as to why I decided to attend the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, which basically ties into my previous video because I will be touching upon the topics of identity as well as being independent and having to accept one's disability, or rather my disability, right? And many more other topics. So let's just get right onto the video. So during my senior year, I applied to a number of different universities. I believe I applied to between 9 or 7 universities, of which I got into about 5, right? To me, that was good enough. I had other friends who applied to like 27 colleges, and I was like, y'all crazy. I just applied to the ones I felt I needed to apply to, and that was it for me. When applying for college, many people perhaps think about, oh, does it have my major, or does it have what kind of school, whether it's a big school, small school, how far is it from, my hometown, or as well as tuition and all these other aspects, which also I had to think about, right? But more importantly than anything for me was, does it have a good disability department? In terms of a disability department that's going to help me make things accessible and accommodate me to be able to succeed in the university, right? Now, when I was looking things up, it turned out that U of I, or UIUC, were ranked in the top 10 universities of the United States that were really good with accommodations. Not only did I have the psychology major, which I wanted at the time, which during my junior year I ended up switching to social work, but that's another story. But they were also really good at accommodating one, right? So when I got accepted to U of I decided to go visit the campus before making a decision, right? I was lucky enough that I had a cousin who was already attending U of I, so that was very helpful for me because she was able to kind of give me a tour of the place and, give me a better feel as to how the campus is. When I met with the disability department, it was amazing. Like, they told me all these different accommodations that they had available for me in terms of converting things to audio, or just, having extra time for exams and being able to take them there in that facility. And it was just all these things that I was like, man, I wish I would have had this in high school. It would have been so much easier. But that's the difference between being in a public school that doesn't really have that much money, right? And in a big university which has money and has the ability to provide one with technology and all these great accommodations, right? So, little word of advice there for those of you who are in high school and perhaps feel that, things are a bit difficult with the technology that you have available there. Trust me, when you get to college, it makes life way easier, especially if you go to a university that actually has the accommodations that you need and the resources to be able to give that to you. So after the meeting, I was super excited. Like, I felt that they were going to be able to provide me with everything that I needed. And as soon as I got home, I accepted the offer to attend U of I. Now, of course, them having a disability department was a big thing for me in order to be able to say yes to the school. The second thing was, their psychology program was also pretty good, and, it was what I wanted to major at the time, so I was like, of course, right? But one of the biggest things for me was the fact that I wanted to get away. I needed to get away from Chicago. As I mentioned before in my other video, my identity here was soccer, right? Everywhere I went, everybody who knew me, my identity was soccer, and that was still taking a toll on me. I couldn't get rid of it. So as years went by, the conversation went from Diego the soccer player or Diego the athlete to Diego the college student, right? And what are you learning, or what classes are you taking? What are you majoring in? And I really enjoyed that. Another reason why I decided to attend U of I, which was about 2.5 or 3 hours away from Chicago, was because I knew that coming from a family-oriented Latino culture, right? My parents, my mom especially, was going to be willing to drive me to school and take me everywhere I went and take me everywhere I needed to go without allowing me to explore my disability, or rather, put myself in a situation where I have to be independent and use my cane and just, get lost or whatnot, right? Because they were gonna be here, right? My mom's a stay-at-home mom, and she was gonna be willing to just like, hey, you gotta go there, I'll take you, right? Or I'll wake up earlier and I'll take you, I'll make time and I'll take you, as well as my dad. And while I appreciate that and I really love them for that, I also knew that I needed to do things on my own, right? I needed to just get away and throw myself into a place where I needed to, in a way, feel helpless and need to help myself, right? So use my cane, basically, right? And that's another reason why I decided to go to U of I, because I knew that being in the dorm, I would have to, make my own friends, right? Make new friends, right? Put myself into that social network where I actually have to go and try and find people to socialize with, right? Another thing, use my cane, right? While I used it mostly at night during my first 2 years, I still needed to use it, right? So it gave me time to explore using my cane and get used to using my cane, whether it was during the night, during the day. I was able to walk during the day and kind of like figure things out a little bit. And then at night, I would use my cane, but I would already, in a way, have an image in my head of the things around me, right? So in a way, it made it an easier transition to going from not using a cane to relying on a cane, which made for many, many great stories, of which people who didn't know I used the cane, or people who didn't realize I was blind, as well as times where, they thought I was faking because I would do certain things that made it seem like I wasn't blind. I will have many of those stories in future videos. I just don't want to make this one too long. Being that Urbana-Champaign was kind of like a small town, it's a big campus, don't get me wrong, but it's also a small town where there's not that many cars, I was able to feel comfortable walking around with my cane and not feel that, oh man, I'm gonna get ran over by a car, right? Which in the big city of Chicago, I would feel overwhelmed, right? Like I'll be like, man, this is too much traffic, there's cars everywhere, I'm gonna get ran over, right? So that also helped me have an easier transition as to using my cane while I was walking on the streets at night, right? So when I came back to Chicago, it was more like, okay, it's just a little bit more cars, but I'm already used to using my cane. Another reason was, aside from the whole using my cane and, relying on that, I also felt the need that I needed time for myself, right? Just like anybody else who goes off to college and has time for themselves and they realize what kind of person they are on their own, and in a way they gain that independence. I had to realize that I had to accept my disability, right? And rather than seeing it as something that's like apart from me, or something that's hindering me, or something that's like, just something that I want to get away from, I needed to embrace it. And little by little, during those 5 years with my master's, I began to accept my disability, as well as feel that it is a part of me, right? And actually feel comfortable being blind, feel comfortable with people knowing me as a person who is blind. And that's also how I became more of an educator, right? More of a, hey, let me tell you a little bit about myself, rather than you just see me using my cane here and you don't see me using my cane later on and you're gonna be like, what's going on, right? If the conversation came up, it wasn't something that I'd be like, hey, let me talk to you about this. No, of course not. If the conversation came up, then I will share about things. So going out to college and just being on my own really, really helped me embrace my disability and make me feel more comfortable, more confident. And again, that was something that helped me. I'm not sure if it's something for everybody. Again, we're all different. We all have different challenges. We all embrace things differently. For me, it was something that I knew I had to do, right? Get away from my family, get away from my friends, just throw myself into the unknown and figure it out. That was something that I needed to do. And I'm so glad I did it, because it truly, truly helped me, as I said, embrace my disability and make me pretty much the person who I am today. So just to conclude on some points, going off to college was really important to me, because I was able to get away from that identity as the soccer player and creating that identity as the college student, and just having conversations revolved around that. On top of that, I was also able to embrace my disability, and it was something that helped me truly feel comfortable with myself and using a cane and being independent more than anything. Finding myself basically in situations where I needed to use the techniques or use, all the information that I had been given by my orientation and mobility instructor, right? As well as when I would go to stores and have to buy something and I couldn't really see it, or just having to ask for help, right? That's one of the most difficult things. I will still say till this day, it's still kind of, there's a part of me that it finds it difficult to ask for help, right? Especially if I'm in a store and I have to find a cheese and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know which one it is, right? Which I'll be honest, sometimes when I wasn't feeling in a good mood and I'll just, it was one of those days where, we'll call it like, I don't know, my blind days where I'll just be pissed at the world. I'll just grab whatever cheese and hope that is the one I wanted. And then I'll discover whatever it was once I got home and it tasted it. Hopefully, it wasn't something bad. I think most of the time it wasn't too bad. I think once I wanted like mozzarella cheese and I got pepper jack, but whatever. For the most part, like I would ask, but I'll have many more stories about that in a future video as well. So again, those were my reasons as to why I, ended up deciding to go to U of I. And, for those out there who are, going through vision loss and are just struggling with certain things, think about, if you're in high school and you're about to go off to college, don't be afraid to go off somewhere that is not near your house, right? You have the ability to do it. Believe in yourself and find people out there who perhaps have done it before, or even just go and visit a campus and figure out if that's a campus that you feel you'll be comfortable at, right? Because again, don't let it keep you from doing something that you want to do. And for parents out there, I understand that it can be kind of scary to let your son or daughter go, especially it's scary enough when they don't have a disability, but when they do have one, especially I guess if it's being blind, I understand that there's more of you probably worry more, right? I'll be honest, like I can share with you guys, like my mom and my dad were a little iffy about letting me go to college at U of I, especially my mom. While that day that I was moving into the dorm, she still asked me, Diego, are you sure you want to do this? Which of course I wanted to, right? But again, like things worked out, and my parents were always there for me, right? My mom would call me almost every day, which then little by little she ended up understanding that I needed to do my things and I didn't have time all the time to just be answering her phone calls. So she would text me sometimes just to check in. I guess I can probably make another video talking a little bit more about that. But that's what I have for you guys today. If you have anything you want to share with me, please leave it in the comments below and I would gladly reply to you. Again, thank you for watching this video, and I will have a new video up for you guys soon. Till next time.